Everybody, this is Jeff Veale, the business guru, coming to you at almost midnight. How keen am I? Midnight in downtown Manila in the Philippines. Got a wonderful guest today. He's from the other side of the world. His name is Mike Garner. And Mike has a company called Stories That Matter. Like, think about once upon a time, guys. Remember those days? I mean, anyway, years in the industry. He's been a freelancer for almost 30 years. He was a translator before being a copywriter. He goes way back, right? Brief description of his business: story-based brand messaging for businesses tired of being ignored. You've all got to tell a story, guys, right? Everyone's got to tell a story, right? Key achievements or projects. He's written 2 books, Stories That Matter and How to Show Off, right? Personal motto or philosophy: we all have a story. And how true, that's what this show's all about, guys. Every man and woman's got a story. I don't care how wonderful you might have been born with a silver spoon in your mouth. Everyone's got adventures. Life's got its ups and downs. We've all got a story. And we'd love to hear it on 15 Minutes of Fame. Then, what happened then? He went over to France for 20 years and he went native. I love this. This is funny stuff. I used to sell French birdseed wholesale simply because I spoke French. Well, that's a good reason. And then his information, where we're going to promote him, we've got all his details here. And it's my great pleasure to welcome to the stage today, Mr. Mike Garner. How are you, Mike?
Good afternoon. Well, good afternoon for me. Good evening for you. It's great to be here.
It is indeed. Let's get the show underway. Tell us about your journey and all those years ago. What inspired you to pursue your current career path?
The current career, I 30 years ago, almost 30 years ago, 1996, I became a translator basically because I was hungry. I thought, I know, I can speak English, I can speak French, I'll be a translator. You know, you don't know what you don't know. This is in the days before, even before Alta Vista, let alone before Google, and I didn't have, my first translation was delivered on a floppy disk on my bike to a client around the corner. Anyway,
amazing.
I built that up and became bored basically of translating other people's bad French. So I became a copywriter, and I was doing fine. You know, I was not putting up any trees. And then 2020 happened, and apart from all the other things that happened in 2020, I had a number of life-changing events. Let's say we lost my mother to Alzheimer's. My wife had a brush with breast cancer. And when it was all over, this is in the second half of the year, around about August time, I thought, what the hell just happened? You know, your mother
where'd life go?
Yeah, where's life going? You're the wrong side of 60. Your mother was 26 when you were born. What are you going to do with the rest of your life? Literally. Time to drop all the imposter syndrome. Time to drop all the not feeling good enough and all this, as if it was that easy. But I mean, it's a starting point. And I did some work with a copywriter in the US on my writing voice because I wanted to improve it. I didn't know at the time she was very close with, she's a copywriter who runs copywriting courses for Seth Godin. Had I known that would have helped me out. But Margot got me writing because I'm a copywriter. I can write for you with my eyes closed. It's what I do. But writing about ourselves is an absolute nightmare.
Yes.
I've lost count of the number of people say, I don't write talking about myself and all this. But Margot got me writing, and I wrote 20,000 words in 3 weeks. Because she said to me, the most important thing that anybody has ever said to me is, just because you write something down doesn't mean to say you have to publish it. But write it down, you must. You must get it out in its imperfect state out of your head, because you cannot edit what's in your head. Through that process, I just wrote. And I wrote my story, basically.
Interesting.
Some of the stuff that I wrote will stay on my hard drive forever. Some of it was think, well, actually, that's not so bad.
Yeah.
And it made its way into the first book I wrote, called Stories That Matter: The Everyday Stories of Extraordinary Business People, which is basically the book about what it's like for people like me to run a business. It's not your Shark Tank gazillionaire type thing.
No.
It's kind of why we set up businesses, what happens, and how we tell our stories, how we stand out. It's not a how-to. It's been compared to Humans of New York, so I was kind of quite pleased about that.
Yes.
All that, and that basically was my realization after 40 years of adulthood, of thinking I wasn't significant. Thinking, yeah, you have a story to tell. People are interested in what you have to say. And I'm evangelical about this. so does everybody else, whatever they may think.
Pretty
So that's
interesting.
brought me to kind of now, and everything I do in that is now is centered around that.
What's been the most challenging aspect of your work, Mike, and how have you overcome that over the years?
Challenging. That's interesting. Without getting too deep and philosophical about it, I think it is basically it's overcoming this I don't matter.
Yes.
You know, beavering away my little corner with my translations, I was fine. And a lot of translators want to be academics. Sorry, translators. But they are kind of very siloed in their little world. And I was comfortable there, if you like. But coming out of that and doing the whole talking about myself things. I mean, this call, for example, 5-6 years ago, I'd have been cringing about it.
Yeah,
you know,
it's so easy, right?
But it's a muscle that you need to flex.
Yeah, it's just a conversation.
Yeah, and you're kind of pushing. I read a book a long time ago by it's a Navy SEAL. Actually, they don't talk about comfort zone. They talk about pushing your zone of competence, because they are obviously trained within an inch of their lives, because they can't be in any kind of position of doubt. So what I'm doing now, I'm not jumping out of my comfort zone, because that's a beautiful place where nothing ever happens.
Sure.
It's pushing my zone of competence.
Yes.
You know, a couple of things to do after this call, which I'm slightly uncomfortable about doing, because I'm not great at promoting myself. I can say that here on a kind of podcast.
Sure.
I find it slightly uncomfortable, because it goes back to the not showing off thing. You know, just because I wrote a book about not showing off doesn't mean to say I'm cured. I'm just slightly ahead of a lot of other people, put it that way.
Yeah, interesting. Tell us about an important moment in your career that changed your direction. When did you stop selling the birdseed? What was that important aha moment?
Well, no, I think the aha moment was that moment when I realised I had a story to tell. Yeah, the birdseed. I'll just tell you very briefly about the birdseed, because I put it down there, because it's kind of slightly counterintuitive. I knew a graphic designer whose father-in-law had spent a lifetime, and he knew he had a doctorate in birdseed type stuff, chemistry, and he'd got to retirement age, and he worked with French wholesalers of birdseed, and he wanted to take the business over, basically. And you know, at the time I knew absolutely nothing about birdseed. Not that I know a lot now, but it's wholesale, so it's sold in 27-ton trucks, or you put it in 3,000-ton shipments on boats.
Wow!
And to this day, I still can't imagine what 3,000 tons of birdseed looks like.
Well, it does.
You know, I mean, if you take the average car, which is 2 tons, that's 15 cars. That's a big car park.
Absolutely.
Worth a car.
Yeah.
You know? But I mean that.
So it was money. In birdseeds. Who knew?
Well, exactly. Yeah. I mean, there's people make money out. I just took commission, basically. It was very profitable for a while.
Yes.
It just, for various reasons, it died on the vine. But no, it was interesting just talking to French farmers, if nothing else.
Yeah. Fantastic. In your opinion, what are the key qualities and skills along the way that have helped contribute to your success?
I think I've done a number of psych tests over the years, and one of it is just the way my brain works. I've got a history degree, which means I can work out what's important, what's not important. I can see trends. And I was talking to a lawyer actually yesterday. We're thinking exactly the same way. It's Steve Jobs said about creativity, it's all about connecting the dots. So when I sit down with a client and we talk about that, I start with their whole timeline, if you like, because I do believe that we are the sum of all the things that we've done in our lives.
Absolutely.
Right back to school. I mean, my love of languages started when I was 5 or 6, because we went to Spain every year. And I think my superpower is the ability to pick things out, you know, because if you have 2 accountants in front of you, how to tell the difference? They have exactly the same product. a balance sheet is a balance sheet. You choose one over the other because you like them.
That's true.
Because of the way that they are and everything, and the things they talk about. Personally, I would run a mile from an accountant that talks just about accountancy.
Yes.
But it's the ability to just kind of connect all the things. If I can just go very, very quickly, I've got one case study. I worked with an HR consultant last year who's in her mid-50s. Her particularity is that she was born in South Africa of Indian descent. So she grew up in the 80s in South Africa on the wrong side of the fence, which obviously had an effect on the way she does her work, particularly after 1994 and working in mixed environments. She came to London about 15 years ago. She works with scale-up businesses that are just taking on staff, if you like, and the major problem is this new staff. These new staff, they're going to be a real part of my business. What are they going to do to my business? And I said to her, you're a strategist as well as being just an HR person. You're not just a strategist. You're probably going to be 20 years older than most of your clients. So you're a mentor. And the look of relief on her face. Yeah. Oh yeah. Frankly, she burst into tears. Happy tears. I don't make a habit of making my clients cry, but that particular one. And then I was on a round in a networking meeting with a couple of weeks ago, actually, and she said, "I'm a strategist and a mentor." I thought, yes, I've done my job.
Fantastic. That's cool, eh? Yeah, you changed their whole mindset. It's really
satisfying with that when they get on board,
when they get it. Yeah. Well, she come out of her shell. She's not frightened to speak up.
Yeah, so a lot of what I do, I think a lot of what I do is mentoring as well. I mean, I was told by mindset coach, you are a mentor. Am I really? I've got to take that on board, as it were. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's a gradual process. All this stuff of embracing the things that are yours.
Yeah. Tell me, how do you stay motivated and continue to innovate in your field? What's your secret there?
I think it's just a wonderful time to be alive.
Yeah, absolutely. We're so lucky. We're blessed.
Having this before we hit record, we had this conversation, but it's there's two things that have enabled me to do what I do today. One is the internet.
Yes.
The other is AI.
Yeah, that's right. They're tools.
And believe you me, I'm running towards it like there's no.
Me too. I'm 77. What about me? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm the master. They're the servants.
And I know so many, particularly in my trade, in copywriters, they're trying to it's like King Canute pushing
crazy.
It's not going to work. So embrace it and use it for the things that you can use it for.
That's right.
It's going to liberate me from all kinds of drudgery.
You'll know this. I quite often just for fun, I can write like Gordon Ramsay, I can write like Gary Vee, I can write like Dan Kennedy. And some of my articles, I get compliments about them because I put write like Dan Kennedy, and he's a genius.
Oh yes, you do. Yeah, I mean, there are kind of jokey things as well that I can. I've done Mel Brooks before now, which kind of works.
That's a good one.
And I'm right like Shakespeare.
Yeah, that's right.
But I do right like my client because my client isn't out in the ether, isn't out on the internet. Yeah. My skill is talking to my client, and I'm thinking of a particular client at the moment who is knocking 40 years younger than me, but who says to me every time, "You write just like me." Yeah, because I've been talking for 2 years, so
you extracted the information.
It's almost by osmosis.
Yes,
and that's again, I suppose that's one of the skills that was one of my superpowers is to be able to kind of read between the lines.
Yeah, it's your forte. Tell me, tell us about a recent project or achievement, apart from this particular lady, which is a great story, and you're a good storyteller, by the way. Tell about a recent project or achievement you're particularly proud of.
Well, that one's a good one. I've got a number of works in progress at the moment. One, I'm working on a much bigger. This is not complete yet, but I'm working on a much bigger project for a client in the US, who is I would call her a personal shopper for hotels. So basically,
Yes.
Marseille,
Uh-huh.
you know, if you
Luxury
need,
brands, etc. Yeah.
well, if you need to buy 100 beds, she's the one. If you're fitting out hotels, basically, I mean, she worked on the big refit of the MGM Grand
Wow.
a while ago, which is not a small hotel. And we're building up now. I find it fascinating because it's a brand strategy for. It's not necessarily a market I know particularly well, but again, thank you, ChatGPT. You can tell me.
Tell me a bit about the market, correct?
Yeah, it can tell me a bit about it. Well, not just, I mean, there are lots of, in particular, the Google tools are very good about that. Doing market research in that, and ask me perhaps in a few months' time when we started bringing on a lot of clients. But I just find the whole process is fascinating. I mean, I do have a lot of other. There's a couple of other people that I found things that they didn't realise.
That's every day. Every day.
One person who's again a copywriter. Often I work with copywriters actually in her 50s, grown up bilingual, but always rejected the other language for various psychological reasons.
Crazy. Yeah.
And so, well, no, that's your superpower, because speaking another language means you have a different perspective on things.
That's right.
That's what I meant when I went to France and went native. So I looked at a lot of things like a Frenchman.
Yes.
And because the language is just another way of seeing the world. I mean, between English and French, there's not an awful lot of difference.
Yes.
But there are sometimes little things like the French will say, and I said this for a long time after I came back from France, you go under the shower, whereas we go in the shower. I know it's a small difference, but it's just a different way of seeing the world. And if you can, I'm a terrible devil's advocate with clients. And I said, well, what about that? Why don't you look at it that way? And I hope, anyway, they appreciate that.
It's funny, in Australia, we can change locations like it. We're talking probably 3 or 4 hours apart only. Probably it's the same in London or England. And what happens, they'll give a beer a different name. In one pub, you'll go, it'll be a pint of beer. The next pub, you'll say pint of beer. They'll look at you like, what do you want? They don't know what a pint of beer is.
In this country, there are at least 10 different words for
a pint of beer.
A bread roll. No, a bread roll.
Oh yeah, there you go.
You know, I can only think of 2 or 3 off the top of my head. But they're all regionalised. They're all local.
Yeah. I had a funny experience in America. I went to a casino and I had breakfast in the morning, and I said, coffee and toast. Oh, and it was so funny. The woman goes, do you want latte? Da, 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 da. She rattled off about 15 coffees, number one, but the bread was the good one. She went, do you want wheat bread, wholemeal, rye, da, 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 barley?
These types of bread. I'm talking about the same kind of...
Yeah. But the funny thing there was, I'm a bit of a prankster. I said to her, what was the 5th one again? You know, she's rattling them all off in her head. Funny stuff. But it's amazing, you know, how words, you know. Another one, a big one for me years ago was, for people trying to learn English, was wound and wound. He wound the clock, and I've got a wound. I need a Band-Aid. Same word, same spelling exactly.
Yeah, that's English pronunciation is a whole... Is quite. There's a whole debate in France about whether you say for what you would call a chocolate croissant. It's not a croissant. Is it a pain au chocolat or is it a chocolatine? Because the chocolatine is the south of France and a pain au chocolat is north. And people get really upset by that as well.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
There's so many things we can get upset about without worrying about croissants. You know.
No. There's more important things in the world.
Tell me, what advice would you give a 20-year-old version of you? He wanted to sort of follow in your footsteps. What would you tell him or her?
A 20-year-old version of me, I was a student doing my history degree, trying to work out what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. I think I wanted to be a teacher. I wanted to be a professor. I wanted to go off and do a PhD. I didn't do that for various reasons. I think all I would say is that it'll be okay.
Yeah, just do it.
And 20-year-old me would have been reassured by that, because 20-year-old me was full of doubt.
Yes.
6-year-old me was full of doubt, quite frank as well.
I tell them get a mentor these days, because they can take 10 years off the journey.
Oh, well, I would, yeah. 66-year-old me would say that as well, because the whole thing about the self-made business is a complete myth. You know, even Richard Branson had a mentor.
Yeah, but funny enough, when I was about 40, I was flying. I was making big money for years. And then I'm watching all these tennis players and all these people. They all had coaches. And I'm scratching my head going, you guys are crazy. Why have you got a coach? And a little voice said to me, Jeff, they want to be better. And I went, exactly. Hey, I want to be better too. So I went and got some coaches. And the funny part was, most of the coaches I got, true story, they ended up paying me. And the one that didn't cost me a lot of money, and I only learnt one thing from him, and I use it to this day. You don't know what you don't know. That cost me $20,000. That was, and I love it. Worth every penny.
I got that for free when I started doing my translation stuff.
Yeah, I paid for it. 20,000. You know, that's all I learned from the man. But it was great, and I think about it every day. You know.
Yeah, no, completely. Yeah. And that's it. I mean, in all seriousness, that is the attitude to have, is that every day is a school day, basically.
Definitely. You know, the day you stop learning, you're dead.
I've got a couple of things that I live by in recent months is, how hard can it be?
Yeah.
You know, and that's my way of dealing with overwhelm.
Oh, good. I love it.
Because I'm slightly ADHD, I think. And
aren't we all?
Yeah, and right, let's work this out. How hard can it be?
Yeah, that's right. And if you don't know, find out. There's someone knows.
Yeah, well, your computer will know these days, to be frank.
Correct.
You don't even need to go and ask anybody.
Yeah, it'll give you 5 variations.
Yeah, it'll confuse you even more, but I mean...
Yeah, but it's on point. Tell me, looking ahead, Mike, what are your goals and aspirations for the future? You've got a long way to go yet.
My goals and aspirations for the future are not to get freaked out about being 70.
It's all right. I'm there. It's good, I'll tell you. It's good fun.
No. In all seriousness, I want to build a movement around this. We've got a story to tell thing.
Lovely. Yeah.
To show off, I'm just starting to build into a course. I've just started YouTube. I've got 72 subscribers now, but I mean, you know, I don't need to be Mr. Beast.
That's right.
YouTube will be a channel, from which I will sell particularly the course.
What about Substack? Are you familiar with Substack?
I've just done a little bit of Substack as well.
Yeah, very good. Very good for writers. A very good platform, I believe.
It is, and it's lovely just to read it. Actually,
yes,
and that's largely what I've been doing, is just discovering stuff on Substack.
Yes, yeah, it's above my pay grade. It's above my pay grade, but I love it.
I'm just kind of prodding at the moment.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, learning,
just seeing, you know, can I make YouTube work? I mean, obviously I do emails as well, my own emails and other people's. Yep. And if I'm honest, that's my first love, still, emails.
Yeah, but you're a laid-back guy. What I see in you, you don't want to be Mr. Multimillionaire. You're Mr. Big Enough. You're happy, Mike. Things are going good.
Exactly. And there's a famous book called, I can't remember what it's called now, but something about wealth. I can't remember what it's called now. But basically, the idea is, well, how much is enough?
Yeah, correct.
When is enough? If you've got to the stage where you couldn't spend all the money you've got in your life, and the next 3 generations couldn't do it anyway, that is perhaps enough.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know, I want to get to
I have the attitude, a beer in the fridge and a steak in the fridge for tomorrow is enough. Because within reason, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I want to be able to travel a bit, but I mean,
Yeah,
But
that costs
that,
money.
that costs money, yeah.
And it
But, I
broadens,
mean,
it broadens the mind dramatically, right? It's a great,
but
great experience.
it doesn't cost an inordinate amount of money.
No, not at all. There's no excuse not to travel.
No. And it's a big world out there. Go out and see it.
Yeah. That's one of my. I'm going to sadly I'm going to die because there's so many things I want to do, Mike. I'm going to run out of time
But
before I run out of ideas. You know?
we all are at some stage. It's just a
Yes.
question of how, we were talking about Ozzy Osbourne just now, and whatever you may think about the life that he said, but it was a life well lived.
Absolutely.
Get to the stage where I get to my final moment and say, right, that was a life well lived, I'll be happy.
Yes. Pre-COVID, most of my life, I had a funny story to myself. I talk to myself and say, nothing happens if you stay home. So I used to go out most nights, cheap restaurants, little bars, walk the streets, whatever. I was out and about and I was seeing things that other people didn't see because they were home in front of a telly every night.
Exactly. Yeah.
But it broadened my outlook on life. I met some interesting characters. I learned shit, fantastic. So I love it.
I'm a learning nerd.
Yeah, me too.
I like TV quiz shows far too much for my own good.
Mm-hmm.
And if I get to the proverbial deathbed and I find out something that day, I didn't know that, I can die happy.
When I'm on my deathbed, I'll be laughing, and they'll be going, "What are you laughing about?" I'll say, "What do you want me to do? Cry?" You've got a little alternative. You can laugh or cry. I choose to laugh.
It'll be what it'll be.
Yeah, that's right. It has been fun. Mike, we're going to wrap it up now. Before we wrap it up, tell us a fun fact about yourself, not the bird seed. Tell us a fun fact about yourself that people don't know.
Well, I've just given you all my. I've shot.
No, you've got a few more. You might have been a yo-yo champion back in the day.
Back in the day. Now you've got me up against the wall. I tell you what. No, I've known my wife for 52 years.
Wow, my goodness.
We would have been married we will have been married 21 years at the end of August, at the end of this month.
Congratulations.
Actually, on Thursday, we'd have been together for 22 years.
Yeah.
Obviously, a big gap in the middle.
Yeah.
If Friends Reunited means anything to you, we are a Friends Reunited couple. So basically, we got back together on our 40s.
Fantastic.
I was 14, she was 12, 13 almost. We met on a school trip to Paris. We were born just about a mile apart from each other. We were at school together, though I was a year older, so we didn't know each other. We met on a school trip to Paris. We went out together as teenagers. We broke up and we got back together again in our 40s.
That's an awesome story.
A good romantic story.
And for men listening to this, the secret out there to stay married, guys, is yes, dear. That's the secret, guys. Just yes, dear. Whatever she says, it's just yes, dear. Happy wife, happy life. Mike, you've been an awesome guest, my friend. It's been a pleasure talking to you. We're about to wrap this up. But before we do, guys, if you want your 15 minutes of fame, come on the show. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel, and you're going to meet lots of interesting people just like Mike here. And you'll learn all about birdseed. You'll learn about copywriting, and you'll learn that Mike's in a position where he can help you. If you need some good copywriting done, you've got a story to tell, you want to know how to tell a story, then Mike's the man for you. So don't forget, guys, to like and subscribe to this channel. We'd love to have you here. Once again, Mike, thanks for being on the show, my friend. It's been awesome.
Thank you.